Did you know that if your child spends 2 days or more, or even just immediately in the NICU, that just the NICU environment alone can put stresses on their developmental movement patterns? And there's things that you should know about your child, and as you're watching them, to concern. There's things that you can do immediately after birth. The biggest thing that you need is again, it's free. If you go to my site, and I'm going to link up the link here, but you want to go and start doing your NICU to home checklist. Concerns will be, again, first of all, any kind of labored respiratory, even if it happened during birth and the baby or your child is stable now, you still want to make sure that the foundational movements needed for breath are there. It's a free, there's my breathing course, right? Good expansion of the chest. The intercostal muscles are working in a synchronized movement into the spines, into the pelvis, all of that, not just how the lung intakes, or you're running, let's say, at 98 pulse ox. You really want to make sure that, again, too, if your child had any fight for life, right, you want to make sure that their life force or their foundational skills are good. Meaning that the child, could have had a stroke in utero, stroke during, or any kind of a brain bleed, something that you're working on their vitals for life support are really important to make sure that the movements are back again, that they know they're not fighting for their lives anymore, and start bringing them out of that mode. The body gets into a very protective mode, especially might be restricting movements as the body is getting used to its new environment, but also that they had to fight for this life. It's not a flight or flight reflex, it's something completely different. Any child that you have any concerns with, let's say within a month, is not presenting into a natural tummy time, meaning that they're in tummy time without being propped or shimmied or that, where they can just go in and just enjoy that moment when you're present with them, is again something to look at, where they're responding okay. If you feel you have to prop your baby in tummy time, or it's only when you're lying back with them, or these kind of skills, these are something that, again, within the 1 month period might be a little bit of a warning sign. They don't have a good cry, right? There's a difference between crying and getting that cycle, that full cycle, versus a or a machine gun, or just a very weak, or not a cry. Right? Those are some of the things during the 1 month period. At 1 month for a child, even that's been through trauma, should be starting to glance at you and look at you. They're probably going to be looking more like this, looking through you, right? Versus looking here like I'm looking at you, right? Those are the little bit of warning signs that you're looking for. Also, a big, I'd say, warning signs is more that they can't reach. What does reach mean? Now, most people think that this is reach. Really, what reach is if you touch them, they reach almost like a snake. They go back into you. You touch them over here, and then they go back. Their whole bodies reach. They're more, and they do these kind of movements. As you touch them, they sort of touch you back. Right? If you don't feel your child is doing that, or you're starting to say, my child's very stiff, I have to bend their legs, or my child's very floppy, I can't keep them in a position, they don't have the strength. Any of those kind of words are concerns that you need to start working on, the ability to start initiating movements. During this stage, that 0 to 1 month of life is the initiation of movements. If you have any concerns whatsoever, because again, leaving the hospital means your child was able to have life controls under control, right? That doesn't mean the development is necessarily as a guarantee. If you have any concerns, first of all, you work with your pediatrician or your neurologist, depending on where you're at with that. Sometimes it's pulmonologist, there are other avenues for you, but always work with your doctor. But please remember that you can stabilize and initiate movements at this stage of life versus that wait and see. Wait and see might be there for medically or some other kind of short to long-term concerns where, okay, we're watching this, but we'll, in a month we'll rewatch it. You really want to start on the developmental movements just from the get-go. It's a very simple touch. And all of this, again, you follow the link that I'm going to post on here, that NICU to home. It's really important for your child. Thank you so much.